My wife's affair became my leverage. All of her expensive designer bags and shoes are now mine. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 36, and I'm going through some serious crap right now. My wife, Brianna, well, she's a piece of work. She's always been ambitious, which is cool, but it's like she decided I was dead the second her career took off. She's been treating me like garbage for years. I supported her, I was there for her, and this is how she repays me. I was the stay-at-home husband, the supportive one, while she climbed the corporate ladder. Now she thinks she's too good for me, too good for the life we built together. I'm starting to think I was an idiot for letting her walk all over me for so long. Should I have seen this coming? It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were usually my day to deep clean the house. Brianna hated coming home to a messy house. Ironic, huh? Anyway, she'd left her iPad on the kitchen counter. It pinged with a message, and normally I wouldn't look, but something told me to check. It was from Jules. Harmless enough, right? Wrong. The message preview on the lock screen was enough to make my stomach churn. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Tell the loser you're working late again. My blood ran cold. Loser, was she talking about me? I felt like I was going to throw up. Shaking, I unlocked the iPad. Thankfully, she never changed the passcode from our anniversary and opened the messages. It was like falling into a pit of vipers. Months. months of messages. Explicit pictures, discussions of trips. He even called me the house husband. The house husband. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I sank to the floor, the iPad clattering against the tile. Nausea rolled over me in waves. This wasn't happening. It'd be happening. My Brianna, with her boss, Julian, the smarmy rich guy she was always going on and on about. The one who bought her expensive gifts just because. I was so blind, so freaking blind. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. I wanted to disappear. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold onto the iPad. I scrolled back through the messages, each one a fresh stab to the heart. They talked about me like I was some kind of pet. Something she tolerated. Something she pitied. He called me pathetic. She didn't disagree, didn't defend me. Nothing. My head was spinning. This couldn't be real. It had to be some kind of horrible, twisted nightmare. Okay, so after I found those messages, I did what I thought was the right thing. Like an idiot. I printed out pages and pages of those disgusting messages, the ones that specifically mentioned me, the ones where they laughed at me, the ones that made me feel like less than human. I waited for her to get home, trying to keep the house spotless, even though my insides felt like they were being shredded. When she walked in, she didn't even notice me at first, too busy tapping away on her phone, probably messaging him. Finally, I cleared my throat. Brianna, I said, my voice shaking. We need to talk. She glanced up, annoyed. Can't it wait, Ethan? I had a long day. A long day of screwing her boss, I thought bitterly. I held up the stack of printed messages. I think you'll want to see this. Her eyes widened slightly as she took the papers. She scanned the first few, her face paling. But then something shifted, her expression hardened. She tossed the pages onto the coffee table like they were trash. So, she said, her voice cold. What's your point? My heart sank. My point, Brianna, you're having an affair with your boss, she scoffed. An affair, please. It's called moving on, growing up. Something you clearly haven't done. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. Moving on, Brianna, we're married. A formality, she said, waving her hand dismissively. Look, Ethan, let's be honest. You're happy playing house. I'm not. I need more. Julian gets me. He appreciates my ambition. He sees my potential. My voice cracked. And I do, she laughed, a cruel, sharp sound that cut me to the bone. Honey, you're content to clean toilets and fold laundry. You haven't had a real job in years. You're uncomfortable, and frankly, it's pathetic. Pathetic, that word. It stung more than any physical blow. My vision blurred with tears. I was shaking with rage and hurt, my fists clenched at my sides. I wanted to yell, to scream, to hit something. But I just stood there, frozen, as she continued her tirade. I need someone who challenges me, Ethan. Someone who inspires me, someone who isn't stagnant. Stagnant, another jab, another twist of the knife. I tried to speak, to reason with her, to remind her of the vows we made, the life we built. Brianna, we can fix this. We can go to counseling, we can work through this. She rolled her eyes. Counseling? Don't be absurd. There's nothing to work through. I'm done, Ethan, I've outgrown you. She picked up her purse. I'll be at Julian's, don't wait up. And then she walked out just like that, leaving me standing there, surrounded by the wreckage of our marriage, the printed proof of her betrayal scattered around my feet. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a fight. This was destruction. She wasn't just angry, she was cruel, calculated. and I was nothing more than an obstacle in her path. An afterthought, a loser. I sank to the floor, the tears finally coming. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of shame and humiliation. How could I have been so blind, so stupid, so pathetic? 2 weeks later, and things have gone from bad to nuclear. Not only is Brianna still with Julian, I see his stupid Porsche parked outside her office building. Sometimes when I drive by, don't judge me, I'm spiraling. But now her family is involved. Her mother called me yesterday. Her mother, who used to adore me, called me a spineless freeloader and told me I should be grateful Brianna put up with me for as long as she did. Grateful. I was the one supporting her emotionally for years while she chased her dreams. I cooked, I cleaned, I managed everything while she worked. I put my own aspirations on hold so she could succeed. And this is the thanks I get. Then, this morning, I got a text from my sister-in-law, Tiffany. Ethan, it read, just so you know, everyone thinks you're pathetic. Brianna deserves better. You're lucky she didn't leave you sooner. Grow up. Are you kidding me? I almost threw my phone across the room. This coordinated attack is insane. They're acting like I'm the one who cheated. They're trying to make me the villain. My appetite is gone. I can barely sleep. I walk around the house like a zombie, surrounded by Brianna's designer crap that I now legally own. Small victories, right? I should be happy, right? I have the house, her fancy purses, her shoes. But honestly, it feels like a hollow victory. It doesn't bring her back. It doesn't erase the hurt. It doesn't stop the constant barrage of insults and accusations from her family. It's like they're trying to break me, to make me give up, to make me crawl back and beg for forgiveness. But you know what? They've underestimated me. This constant pressure, this insane family drama, it's not breaking me, it's fueling me. I'm done being the loser. I'm done being the pathetic house husband. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to show them and Brianna exactly what I'm capable of. I'm talking to a lawyer tomorrow. This isn't over, not by a long shot. So I finally broke down and told my friend Sarah everything. Sarah's a divorce lawyer, sharp as a tack, and doesn't take crap from anyone. I was hesitant at first, you know. It's embarrassing to admit your wife is cheating on you, especially with her smarmy boss. It felt like admitting I was a failure. I started by telling her about the iPad, the messages, the whole sickening discovery. I mumbled something about Brianna being ambitious, about me supporting her career. Basically, I was making excuses for her. I downplayed everything, like I was trying to convince myself it wasn't as bad as it was. Sarah listened patiently, not interrupting. But as I talked, her expression changed. She went from concerned to incredulous, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. When I finished, she just stared at me for a second. Then she said, "Ethan, are you seriously trying to justify her behavior? She's treating you like garbage." I shrugged, feeling like a kicked puppy. I don't know, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I haven't been supportive enough. Maybe I haven't been ambitious enough. Sarah slammed her hand on the table. "Stop it," she said, her voice sharp. "That's exactly what they want you to think. Brianna, her family, even that slimy Julian, they're all gaslighting you. They're trying to manipulate you into believing you're the problem. You're not." That hit me hard, gaslighting. I'd heard the term before, but I never thought it would apply to me. "Ethan," Sarah continued, her voice softening, "you're a good person. You're kind, you're supportive, you're loyal. You put your own life on hold for her. That doesn't make you pathetic, it makes you a good husband. And she repaid you by treating you like dirt. That's not your fault." Then she laid it all out for me. She explained how Brianna's actions were a deliberate choice, a calculated betrayal. She explained how her family's behavior was enabling her abuse. She explained my legal rights, how I could protect myself, how I could fight back. It was like a fog lifted from my brain. For the first time, I saw the situation clearly. I wasn't the problem. Brianna was, and I didn't have to just sit there and take it. I started to cry. Not tears of sadness or self-pity, but tears of anger and something else. Relief. Finally, someone saw what I was going through. Finally, someone validated my pain. Sarah put her hand on mine. "Ethan," she said, "you're not alone, I'm here for you. And we're going to make sure Brianna and her family regret the day they ever messed with you." That conversation changed everything. It was like a switch flipped inside me. The shame and self-doubt started to fade, replaced by a growing sense of resolve. I wasn't a loser. I wasn't pathetic. I was a victim. And I was finally ready to fight back. So I'm still reeling from this. I thought I'd hit rock bottom, but apparently there's a sub-basement level of hell reserved for husbands of ambitious, cheating sociopaths. After talking to Sarah, I started feeling stronger. Like I could actually handle this. I even started packing Brianna's stuff. I figured she's made it pretty clear she's not coming back, so why let her designer crap clutter up my house? Then came the final straw. The final, infuriating, soul-crushing straw. Brianna waltzed in Sunday night, after a weekend getaway with Julian gag, like she owned the place. Like nothing had happened. She was wearing some ridiculously expensive dress, reeking of some fancy perfume, and carrying a designer handbag I'd probably paid for. She looked at the boxes piled in the hallway, her perfectly sculpted eyebrows arching in surprise. "What is all this?" she asked, her voice dripping with disdain. I was in the kitchen, making myself a sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, my comfort food these days. I turned around, took a bite and said, "What does it look like? You're moving out." She actually laughed in my face. "You're kicking me out, you Ethan, you can't even kill a spider without calling me for backup." I swallowed my bite, my hands clenching around the sandwich. "Things change, Brianna, people change." She rolled her eyes. "Oh please, you're just being dramatic. Unpack my things, Ethan. And while you're at it, I'm hungry, make me dinner." Make her dinner? After everything, after the messages, the insults, the family intervention from hell, I felt a surge of rage, hot and blinding, coursing through my veins. "Dinner," I said, my voice dangerously low. "You want me to make you dinner, after you spent the weekend screwing your boss?" "He's not just my boss, Ethan," she said, her voice tight. "He's my future." She gestured towards the boxes. "Now unpack my things, and then we can talk about reconciliation." Reconciliation. The word hung in the air like a toxic fume. She thought she could just waltz back in, demand dinner, and then dangle the possibility of reconciliation like some kind of prize. Like I should be grateful. That was it. The snap. Something inside me broke. The pathetic, heartbroken husband vanished, replaced by something else. Something colder, harder. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from anger, pure, unadulterated rage. I felt a strange calmness wash over me, a sense of clarity I hadn't felt in weeks. "Reconciliation," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "Let me make something perfectly clear, Brianna. You're not welcome here. Your things are in boxes, they're yours. Take them or don't, I don't care. You're done." Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear finally showing through her carefully crafted mask of indifference. "You can't do this, Ethan," she hissed. "This is in my house too." "Not anymore," I said, meeting her gaze. "I changed the locks." I walked over to the front door and opened it. "Get out." Just then, Julian's stupid Porsche pulled up outside. He sauntered in, all smug and condescending, like he owned the place. He put his arm around Brianna, sneering at me. "What's going on here, Ethan?" he asked, his voice dripping with fake concern. I looked at him, then back at Brianna. "I believe I told you to leave," I said, my voice calm and steady. "Both of you." Julian stepped forward, trying to intimidate me with his size. "Listen, pal," he started, but I cut him off. "I'm done being the pal, Julian," I said, my voice rising. "I'm done being the loser. I'm done being the pathetic house husband. I'm done." I pointed to the boxes. "Her stuff is on the driveway. I've arranged for a storage unit. The key is in the top box. Take it and go." Brianna started to scream, a high-pitched, entitled shriek that made my ears ring. Julian started yelling too, threatening me with lawyers and lawsuits. I just stood there watching them, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. Let them yell. Let them threaten. I didn't care. I was done. Finally, Brianna called the police. The police. Like I was the one causing a problem. When they arrived, I calmly explained the situation, showed them the divorce papers Sarah had drawn up, and pointed to the mountain of designer crap on my driveway. The cops, thankfully, saw right through Brianna's crocodile tears and Julian's bluster. They told them to leave. As they drove away, Brianna glared at me, her face contorted with rage and something else. Fear. She finally realized she'd underestimated me. She thought I was weak, pathetic, a pushover. She was wrong. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it, letting out a long, shaky breath. It was over. Finally over. And I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. I knew I had a long road ahead of me, but for the first time in a long time I felt free. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this is where the pathetic house husband becomes a strategic mastermind. After that reconciliation BS, I knew I had to act fast. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This was war. First, I called Sarah. "It's go time," I told her. She immediately put me in touch with a pit bull of a divorce lawyer, the kind that eats cheating spouses for breakfast. We reviewed everything, the messages, I'd meticulously saved everything. Digital receipts, baby, Brianna's financial records, which I conveniently had access to, the whole 9 yards. Documentation is key, people. Next, I went full-on spy mode. I changed the locks on the house while Brianna was at work. I mean, she'd practically moved in with Julian, so it wasn't like she was coming home much anyway. But this was about more than just keeping her out. This was about reclaiming my territory. And why house? Then came the fun part: packing. Brianna's closet looked like a designer boutique exploded. Bags, shoes, clothes with tags still on them, it was sickening. I packed it all up. Every single thing. I even included the ridiculous, motivational posters she had plastered all over the walls. Live laugh, leave your husband for your rich boss wasn't exactly my style. I piled it all in the driveway, a glorious monument to her materialism and my impending freedom. Seriously, the HOA is going to have a field day. The best part? I found the receipt for her $5,000 handbag. Guess who paid for that with our joint account? Yep, yours truly. That beauty is mine now. Karma, baby, but I didn't stop there. Oh no, I went nuclear. I transferred half the money from our joint account into a new, separate account. I contacted our financial advisor and froze all our shared credit cards. I even changed the Wi-Fi password. Petty, maybe. Satisfying, hell yes. Sarah helped me draw up a rock-solid prenuptial agreement. We'd stupidly never gotten around to it before that protected MY assets. She also advised me to document everything: the affair, the harassment from Brianna's family, every single interaction. Evidence is everything, Ethan, she said, and I took her words to heart. Mentally, I prepared myself for the inevitable explosion. I knew Brianna wouldn't go down without a fight. I knew her family would come at me with all their weapons, but I was ready. I'd spent weeks feeling like a victim, like a pathetic, emasculated loser. But now I felt powerful, in control. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming my self-respect. It was about showing Brianna, her family, and that slimy Julian that I wasn't the weak man they thought I was. I was done being a doormat. I was ready to stand my ground. Bring it on! The Porsche screeched to a halt in the driveway, its headlights illuminating the mountain of designer luggage piled haphazardly near the garage. Brianna stepped out, her face a mask of carefully applied indifference, followed by Julian, his smug grin radiating an almost comical level of self-satisfaction. They clearly hadn't expected this. What is the meaning of this? Brianna demanded, her voice tight with barely contained fury. She gestured towards the overflowing boxes, her perfectly manicured nails flashing in the porch light. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, my expression calm. It appears you've mistaken this for a luxury storage facility, Brianna. It's not, it's my house, and you no longer live here. Julian stepped forward, puffing out his chest like some kind of preening peacock. Now see here, Ethan, he began, his voice laced with condescension. I cut him off. I'm not talking to you, Julian, you're trespassing. Brianna, I told you to leave. Your belongings are on the driveway, I've arranged for a storage unit. The key is in the top box, take it, and go. My voice was steady, even devoid of the pleading, desperate tone I'd used for so long. Brianna's carefully constructed facade finally cracked. You can't do this, she shrieked, her voice rising to an ear-splitting pitch. This is my house too. Not anymore, I said, holding up a set of keys. I changed the locks. I dangled them slightly, enjoying the flash of panic in her eyes. I suggest you get your things and leave before I call the police. Julian, bless his clueless heart, actually tried to physically intimidate me. He stepped closer, his face reddening. Listen, pal, he started, but I cut him off again. I'm not your pal, Julian, I said, my voice rising. And I'm done playing nice. Get out. Brianna launched into a full-blown tantrum, screaming about her rights, her things, her future with Julian. He joined in, yelling about lawyers and lawsuits. The noise was deafening, but I just stood there, watching them, a strange sense of calm settling over me. Let them rage. Let them threaten. I was done being intimidated. Finally, in a fit of pique, Brianna called the police herself. The police. As if I was the one causing a problem. When the officers arrived, I calmly explained the situation. I presented them with the divorce papers Sarah had prepared, pointed to the mountain of Brianna's belongings on the driveway, and even showed them a few choice text messages from Jules discussing their romantic getaways, while conveniently omitting any mention of my involvement. The officers, thankfully, weren't born yesterday. They saw right through Brianna's crocodile tears and Julian's blustering threats. They politely but firmly told them to gather their things and leave. As Julian loaded Brianna's designer luggage into his Porsche, serves him right, Brianna shot me a venomous glare, her face contorted with a mixture of rage and something else. Fear. She finally realized she'd underestimated me. She'd thought I was weak. Pathetic, a pushover. She was wrong, dead wrong. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it, letting out a long, shaky breath. It was over, finally over. The tension that had been building for months, for years, finally released, leaving behind a strange sense of peace. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be legal battles, smear campaigns, and undoubtedly more drama from Brianna and her family. But for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I had taken back control. I had stood my ground, and I had won. It's been 6 months since Brianna and Julian screeched out of my driveway, leaving a cloud of dust and the faint scent of expensive perfume in their wake. The silence that followed was deafening. At first, it was a relief. Then it was unsettling. I wandered through the house, a place that suddenly felt too big, too empty. It was my house, legally and officially, but it still echoed with the ghost of our life. I spent the first few days in a daze just existing. I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, watched mindless TV, and tried to process the magnitude of what had happened. The divorce proceedings were messy, to say the least. Brianna, fueled by spite and probably Julian's money, launched a full-blown smear campaign. She told everyone I was an abusive, controlling husband who had driven her into the arms of another man. Her family, of course, backed her up, painting me as the villain in their twisted narrative. It was infuriating. For a while, I actually started doubting myself. Was I the bad guy? Had I somehow driven her away? Thankfully, Sarah was there every step of the way. She reminded me of the truth. She reminded me of the messages, the betrayal, the blatant disrespect. She reminded me of my worth. "Don't let them rewrite history, Ethan," she said. "You know the truth, and that's all that matters." She connected me with a therapist who helped me process the trauma and rebuild my shattered self-esteem. Therapy was hard, but so worth it. My lawyer, the pitbull Sarah had recommended, was a godsend. He systematically dismantled Brianna's lies, presenting evidence of her affair, her financial recklessness, and her family's harassment. The settlement wasn't exactly what I'd hoped for, but it was fair. I kept the house, yes, my car, and a decent chunk of our savings. Brianna got her designer crap back, good riddance, along with a hefty chunk of alimony. It stung, but I knew it was the price of freedom. I was finally free from her family, from the suffocating weight of her expectations. It's been a long, difficult journey. I'm still healing. There are days when the anger and hurt resurface when I replay the events of the past year and wonder how I could have been so blind. But there are also days when I feel a sense of pride. I stood up for myself. I fought back. I refused to be a victim. I learned to value myself. I've started rebuilding my life. I got a job, a real job. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I'm reconnecting with old friends, pursuing hobbies I'd long neglected, and rediscovering who I am outside the shadow of my failed marriage. I'm even dating again, baby steps. The biggest lesson I've learned: never settle for less than you deserve. Don't let anyone, not even your spouse, diminish your worth. Know your value, set boundaries. And if someone crosses those boundaries, don't be afraid to walk away. So Reddit, that's my story. It's been a wild ride, to say the least. I'm still processing everything, still learning, still growing. Has anyone else gone through something similar? Any advice for navigating the aftermath of a betrayal like this? I'd love to hear your thoughts.